What up, y'all? Welcome to my overview/review of The Seasons Have Teeth, Issue 3, Autumn, by Dan Watters and Sebastian Cabral from Boom Studios. Our story continues with Andrew on the back of a cargo truck being transported to photograph Autumn by Professor Rankle, who is tracking the season by Geiger counter. Although Andrew was told he could be taken all the way to the season, after seeing the readings are too high, he is told he must walk the rest of the way. Autumn is in hibernation and has chosen to nest in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. And as Andrew watches a fallen leaf, he recalls that fall was the season of his life that he had betrayed his love, who he shared a content, merry life with, although his own ambitions were unfulfilled. Andrew enters an abandoned house and recalls coming home to Cindy as he looks at a portrait of a family that once called it home. He recalls how he would photograph her through their unspoken pact, and how she would catch him looking at her, and she would look up and smile. He would click the camera and capture her radiance. As he radiates from burning logs in the fireplace, Andrew remembers how she was diagnosed and began to decay, and all he could do was wait, as he now waits for daybreak. Andrew hears a crack and thinks it's the season. And as he hurries, he scurries for his camera, worried there isn't enough light for a good picture he would want, but knows something is out there. With camera in one hand and flashlight in the other, he shines the light and reveals a decayed sheep coming out of the woods, with only one eye and fur, flesh, and part of its foreleg completely decayed away to where it has vanished. The sheep cries out, and Andrew questions what Autumn has done to it. Andrew thinks it must be in pain and is thirsty, and pours some water, offers it, and the sheep chomps down on his hand. The growl of wolves startle Andrew, and he turns around and tries to shoot the sheep to get it to run, but it instead bites him again as the wolves approach. As Andrew flees, he hears the cries, then the silence. Andrew runs through the autumn night, following the smell of mulch, which leads him to the nuclear power plant where the season has taken up residence. Instead of being impressed or afraid, Andrew is haunted by the sheep he abandoned as he walks toward the door of the power plant. Andrew notes that the sheep wanted to live, although it was in pain, and tries to reconcile himself as he searches for Autumn. And flashback to when Andrew used his unspoken permission to photograph Cindy as she lay in decay and never complained as her lips puckered in pain. He told himself it was from the cancer, not the flash of his camera's light, that he was not undermining their agreement. No longer looking for her bright vibrance, he felt she began to hate him as he selfishly began to search for meaning in her suffering and found nothing. As Andrew continues to search the power plant for Autumn, he picks up a stick, then recalls it was his last bid to find relevance when he happens upon the giant hand of Autumn. Having died 1,000 deaths, Andrew now bravely bangs the stick up against the rail of the stairs. Fallen leaves are jolted into the air. Andrew drops the stick and grabs his camera, having awakened the sleeping giant, a red-eyed, half-skulled, partially decayed away monster. Andrew clicks his camera and is himself lifted into the air as he recalls his disconnection with his suffering wife, him hearing it thump before he submitted the pictures, and how he should have been there for her, but left her alone. Andrew's wife reached for something and fell out of bed. Andrew blamed himself for leaving Cindy by herself when she died, as he was searching for the intangible. He recalls his collection of photographs was entitled Her Fall, as he crashes back down to the earth, breaking his camera. He looks up at Autumn as it walks away, then he turns to recover his camera. Pictures were sent from Andrew's account, and issue 3 ends with our first cliffhanger of the series, as we find Andrew has not been seen since, and winter is headed toward England. So issue 3 really grew my appreciation for this series. After leading a cowardly life, Andrew fearlessly embarks through high levels of radiation. The decayed sheep in the beginning of the book set the stage for the decayed giant Andrew revealed after waking it from its hibernation. Andrew continues with his honest reflection of himself, and his failure to his life partner. My curiosity was satisfied, finding out how Cindy died, which added to his chronicle and further pulled me into this story of redemption. The different, darker purple tint in the flashback scene set the grim mood of Cindy's affliction and death, and Andrew's guilt and mourning. Noticing the three different tints of the flashback scenes and the mood each one set got me to realize how each of the seasons of the series are metaphors for the seasons of Andrew's life. Spring being the beginning of his relationship and start of his career. Summer being the long, tumultuous body of his life, and autumn the decay of his wife and their relationship. I am, of course, interested to see what winter will look like in issue number 3, but I'm wondering if Andrew will be partially decayed away and if he will survive winter, as we know winter is a time of death.